With us today is Ruby Brown, CEO of Mind, a training institute for government leaders in Jamaica, and she has an extension to the Caribbean, I believe. Uh, Ruby, how did you encounter CCL and LBB?
Quite interesting, I must say. A couple years back, maybe as far as about 7 years ago, shortly, maybe about 2 years after I had assumed leadership of the institute, that's Management Institute for National Development, I found that I was struggling quite a bit, you know, and recognized that I needed some help, you know. This something was just amiss, you know. So despite my experience as a leader before, despite all the work that I'd done with the institute before, assuming the role of CEO, I just wasn't getting it. And so I went in pursuit of some help. And in the process, I shared it with my sister, my concerns, you know, my wanting an intervention, if anything. And she came back to me some days after, and she told me that she did a little research on the internet, and she came across this organization, Center for Creative Leadership. And she said that she searched and looked at the various programs that they had. She saw this particular program, Leadership Development Program, LDP. And when she looked at the little write-up about it, she thought that it addressed pretty much the issues that I had raised to her. And so I decided, fine, I'll check it out myself, which I did. And I said, yes, this was it. This was the program. It really spoke to me. And so I sent in my application, and in short order, I was at the San Diego, I think it was, campus. I completed the LDP program, which was an absolute changing experience. It was a life-changing experience, in fact. And after completing that, I went back, quite enthusiastic, started to put things in motion based on what I'd learned, you know, starting to change the way I practice as a leader. And along the way, I heard about the LBB program. And so I, along with a member of my management team, came and we did the trainer program. And I'm trying to remember if before that I even came here as well to Greensboro and did a number of other CCL programs, such as developing leadership talent. There's also another workshop on assessment, etc. But I think most profound was the LDP and the LBB, Leadership Essentials program, because especially with that I was able to go back and start the ball rolling in terms of developing my team. And when I speak about my team, I'm not speaking about my management team, my leadership team, but the entire Mind team.
What impact has it created for you, your organization, and your stakeholders?
In terms, for me personally, I am far more confident as a leader. I have learned I've acquired a number of new skill sets that have certainly served to augment my leadership. And I think the effects of it is that much more impactful on the organization, on the public sector generally. In terms of my team, well, I would want to believe that they all see themselves as leaders in their own right, and that collectively we have a responsibility for leading the organization. And so regardless of where one sits within the organization, regardless of what his or her title is, I think I now have a team who appreciates that they are a leader, and they contribute and can continue to make an impact on the organization, you know, accordingly. And so are accountable just like myself or anybody else for where the organization goes, how it delivers on its mandate, its vision, etc. In terms of the public sector, we have been modeling the way as it relates to our leadership practice, but importantly also, we have been rolling out to a greater degree a number of leadership development interventions, including Leadership Essentials program by itself. We have infused it into some of our existing programs. We have been having coaching workshops, etc. So we are doing far more than we did in the prior to my involvement with CCL. We are doing far more now in terms of various leadership development interventions that we are facilitating for the public service.
Which leads me to my next question: is what is the difference that leadership development can make in Jamaica and in the Caribbean?
What's the difference that leadership development can make?
Yeah, what is the difference that leadership development can make in Jamaica and throughout the Caribbean?
Okay. An interesting question and quite a bit of difference. I'll take it from two perspectives. When we consider for the public service, for example, that the public service exists to provide a certain level of professionalism in terms of the services that we provide for citizens. And it's not just services that the citizens need, but a certain quality of service that the citizens deserve. And it takes good leadership to be able to recognize and appreciate that and to develop and provide the services in tandem. Very importantly too is the fact that by and large the Caribbean islands, are developing states. Some of us already have national development plans. We already have national visions for becoming having developed country status in the very near future. And one of the things that permeates all of these is the need for sound leadership to underpin that kind of path towards developed country status. And so we can't take for granted the need, therefore, to develop the leadership capacity and capability of our public service to support our national visions, our national development plans. And so if it wasn't required any other time, which it always did, it is definitely a must at this point in time. And the reality too is that our experiences over the years, in and of itself tells us that we can continue to lead in many respects the ways that we have. Our leadership has to be different in the way going forward. And leadership development is critical to facilitating a different kind of leadership that is going to transform our various public services, our various countries into the future, into that developed country status future that we all aspire towards and we have all been envisioning.
What is your vision for bringing this perfect leadership culture in Jamaica first and in the Caribbean to life?
Well, right now I have my eyes set on establishing a public sector leadership development center in Jamaica. And let me put it this way, a mine leadership development center for public sector leaders in Jamaica, but serving the Caribbean. That's where my vision is at this point in time. In fact, we have already developed our strategy document and is now on the cusp of implementation. So that's where my vision is. And of course, to augment it with whatever interventions are being pursued across the region at this point in time and in the future as well. Forging stronger partnerships, forging stronger collaborations in order to give this life and to ensure its sustainability.
Sounds great. Looks like you all have a lot going on down there in Jamaica. Thank you for talking to us today.
And thank you for having me.